Hey there folks, Sparrows here, coach of the New England Eeveelution, and this season we are taking on the IBL. Now, if you're not familiar, the IBL is a bunch of mad lads because they are allowing Gigantimax in their league. And not only are they allowing Gigantimax in their league, but they're allowing Gigantimax in their league with held items, which I'm super excited to participate with. I think it's a rare opportunity to just have a bunch of overpowered monsters just duke it out for 3 turns before they turn back into just regular monsters. Very, very excited for the metagame presented in the IBL. And we're going to go over our team. Right out the gate, I'm going to tell you there's a lot of things that I'm feeling unsure about with this team. There were a lot of mons that I drafted that I thought they could do different things, and it turned out they couldn't. And I think that kind of stunted my enthusiasm for this team. But overall, I mean, on paper, it still looks okay. I think it might just not be flashy enough for me. We'll get into it as we sort of do our recap for the team. Now, the first member of our team is going to be our G-Max Mon, because I wanted to ensure that we got a really fun G-Max Mon to use with an item, because this is such a rare opportunity for a league to utilize mons like this in a metagame. Building around my G-Max Mon kind of felt like it was going to be important to me. So we ended up getting G-Max CINDERACE. Our G-Max CINDERACE is going to be called RABSCUTTLE, by the way. And I honestly didn't think CINDERACE was going to get to me. And that's a little wild because I was the 6th pick, but I think this mon is so freaking good, and maybe I'm overestimating it. But I was imagining it was going to be a first turn, second turn pick kind of mon. But it lasted to us, and I had to snap it up. I was initially planning on doing a G-Max Snorlax team because G-Max Snorlax was a little bit cheaper and still very, very good with an item. I think it'd be fun to sort of build around Snorlax too. But I told myself, hey, if something cooler is available, if something super OP is available, I'm going to pick it up. And RABSCUTTLE was just there for the taking, so we have G-Max CINDERACE. This is only Blaze. We're not allowed to use Libero for this league, which probably would explain why I got pushed down pick number 6 and not number 1. But even with Blaze, CINDERACE is gold. With G-Max, in addition to just heavy-duty boots, the ability to survive hits into Blaze range is highly probable. So there's enough staying power on this mon that we will most likely get to utilize our Blaze ability very often. Now, that does take away from the versatility of Libero, having stab for so many good coverage moves. But we still get those coverage moves, and he has plenty of utility in the G-Max moves. We get G-Max Knuckle, we get G-Max Arrow Stream, or whatever the hell it's called. If we want to, for whatever reason, run a special set, we can turn Gunk Shot into the Max Ooze, boost up our special attack that way. CINDERACE has everything it needs to boost up and just do insane damage. And because we get to hold an item, we can hold life orbs, we can hold heavy duty boots, which is perfect for the other signature move that RABSCUTTLE gets, which is Court Change. I don't know if I said the first one, which is Pyro Ball, but we all know it's Pyro Ball, and also G-Max Fireball. But yeah, this Pokemon is good. I'm a little disappointed that I can't play around with it on Showdown. I didn't realize that Smogon banned CINDERACE completely, which makes it harder for me to get a feeling for the core of my team, which is something that I like to do after I draft a team, but we'll make do. Got banned for a reason, so I know I can figure out why. I'm just going to have to play with it a lot off Showdown is all that means. For our second pick, we are bringing in ROADIE the TANGROWTH. I wanted a mon that would highlight the sheer power of our G-Max star player. So we're going into our grass core immediately with the Regenerator Tangrowth. Tangrowth has great defenses. Its special defense leaves a little to be desired, but it's got enough hit points that if you slap an Assault Vest on it, it's a decent special defensive wall. And on top of Regenerator, it's going to find a place on this team. Tangrowth also does cool things like Knockoff. It's got Sleep Powder, it's got Leech Seed. It can run physical or it can run special. It's overall a very, very versatile mon, and it pairs super well with our 3rd round pick, and that's ZUGZWANG, the SLOWKING. Now, technically, our 3rd pick was actually my Lodic, and SLOWKING is a post-draft preseason transaction, but this is where I picked my bulky water type. Like Tangrowth, SLOWKING can make for a great special defensive wall or a great physically defensive wall. And they sort of trade off on which one can do which, depending on what I need them to do, which is really great. If I went with Slowbro over SLOWKING, both Tangrowth and Slowbro have high defense and low to middling special defense. So I sort of just inverted the two and went with SLOWKING instead. And I think SLOWKING probably makes a better partner with Tangrowth for that exact reason. Now, the issue that I have with SLOWKING and why I might end up trading this Mon again is I thought it had access to certain moves that it doesn't have access to in Sword and Shield currently. Apparently, these moves will probably become accessible with the Isle of Armor, or not the Isle of Armor, but the Crown Tundra. But Counter and Teleport were both two moves that I was very keen on looking into. Teleport specifically was a reason I drafted SLOWKING. And you actually can't get Teleport on SLOWKING currently. I'm not really sure why, but you just can't, which really ruined my plans of using this as a slow regenerator momentum shifter. Still, SLOWKING is great. It's a really good wall, and it pairs really, really well with Tangrowth. My only wish is if I wasn't going to get a slow momentum shifting Pokemon, that I spent this round picking up something with a little bit more power, a little bit more pizzazz. Instead, we have a really, really cool first round pick, and then two kind of just like, second and third round picks. They're great. They form a great core, and I'm sure they'll do well together this season. But yeah, they're kind of boring. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm really disappointed by not having access to Teleport. Teleport was kind of going to be my bread and butter with this thing. Moving on to our fourth pick, we have Meringue the HELIOLISK. If you've been with me for a while, I had HELIOLISK like 3 years ago when I was doing draft leagues initially, and it's not the best Mon. I will give you that, but it's a really good Mon. HELIOLISK will not have a high kill count, but it does put in the work. The main reason I wanted to choose HELIOLISK here is dry skin mostly. Having something that I can use to swap in on a Scald or Hydro Pump or a Vicious Rend, which is the thing that we're always afraid of. Always be afraid of Vicious Rend. So having something that can check water types for our Cinderace is really, really important. Not only is it immune to water types, but it can drop off Volt Switches, it can drop off Thunders, it can actually deal with the water types if they choose to stay in on it, which I think is super, super useful. Also, early on in the draft, I was playing with maybe drafting a regular Vulpix as our last pick to have some sun support for RABSCUTTLE, which I think, Gmax Cinderace in the sun sounds particularly devastating. I ended up not really having the space to do that, as you'll see. But because of that, I was also looking at solar power to boost up Meringue's damage. Next up, we have HABOOB the Flygon. This is my least favorite pick of my draft. I know a lot of people love Flygon. I don't get the hype. I don't. I'm not big into Flygon. Design-wise, just in general, not into it. I got Flygon because of Levitate and because it's a ground type Levitator. That's why I got Flygon. I know it also hits strong on the physical side, but you can run it on special, and then it also gets Dragon Dance, which is really great. Having a setup Mon is ideal. You don't want to not have a setup Mon, Speed tier at 100 isn't bad either. But having the ground and electric immunity wasn't only the main reason why I picked Flygon. I picked Flygon for Defog because my team has a lot of switch capabilities to it. So having Defog is a really nice way to sort of preserve that strategy. But the issue, I thought Flygon gets Stealth Rocks. Flygon does not get Stealth Rocks. I don't know why Flygon doesn't get Stealth Rocks, but Flygon doesn't get Stealth Rocks, which kind of makes it useless in my eyes. Yes, I want Defog on my team. My team needs Defog. I was planning on this being my Defog rock setter consistently. Doesn't get Stealth Rocks. Throws a huge wrench in the rest of my draft. I'm very, very disappointed with Flygon. That said, it does get Dragon Dance. It can do cool things. I know this Mon will put in the work for me, but right now I'm not happy with it. I'm just not happy with it. Let's move to the next guy. And actually, this pick is my favorite pick. So I guess that just shows the ebbs and flows to drafting. HIERONYMUS, the male Indeedee. Oh man, I cannot believe that this is my third tier 3 pick. I got through 2 other tier 3 picks. We are 6 rounds deep, and Indeedee is still available. This is the Tapu Lele of this gen. It has Expanding Force, a new psychic type move that makes it hit like a nuke every time it wants to fire something off. How can you not pick Indeedee? I had to grab up Indeedee. I know I already have a normal type, but what's nice about having a psychic normal type is that you have that immunity to ghost type, so you don't have to worry about one of your weaknesses. And also you aren't weak to fighting, which is the main reason why you want to avoid having double normal types in the first place. And yeah, we have, double psychic as well, but we got psychic surge now. So now we can run Expanding Force on our SLOWKING if we want it. And also when I drafted this thing, we didn't have SLOWKING yet. We just had Melodic. So let's be fair. But this thing, it hits hard. It's got a 105 base special attack, which is not bad, especially in psychic terrain, which it automatically sets up. And it's got a base 95 speed tier, which in this metagame is not bad. And not only is it not bad, it's freaking great with psychic terrain. I cannot wait for this thing to make the battlefield weird and wild and wacky and whatever adjective it uses. I love this thing. I'm super excited for it. It pairs really well with Cinderace, which is the fastest mon on our team right now. Not only does it make us immune to a priority, but if we want to go for Zen Headbutts with Cinderace, we can. If we want to go for Max Mindstorms with Cinderace, we can. Super excited about using this mon. It's my favorite pick. So next up, we have Impervium the STEELIX, and this was my Rock Setter replacement. It kind of does the same thing as Flygon for my team. It's a little bit more of a defensive wall, obviously. Has less of an offensive versatility as well. But I think both Flygon and STEELIX are primarily useful for their ground typing, for this team in particular. Still, I've battled STEELIX recently. It's gotten huge buffs. Body press is amazing on it. With Indeedee, if we want to run Steel Roller, we can run Steel Roller. It just got Scorching Sands, so now it can work as a ground type bulky water, which is great. Getting that Scald Burn is always good. And now we have a ground type that can do it. So yeah, I don't hate the STEELIX pick. It just feels very redundant for me. I needed a good steel type, and it was the best available, and it was the best available that had rocks. And that's where we're at. It kind of throws off the vibe of my team a little bit, but I do think, sort of, if I'm going to take myself back for a second, STEELIX is nice in that it allows me to do something new with my team that I wasn't previously building towards. And if we ever face a Trick Room team, because our team is pretty fast, so I wouldn't be surprised if Trick Room comes at us, STEELIX will help us combat that, which is nice. For our next pick, we have our tier 4, and it is GIZMO the Sableye. One of my favorite Pokemon, Sableye, is amazing. Prankster Will-O-Wisp, not going to work in Psychic Terrain, but Prankster Recover, still good. If we need to stall things out for Psychic Terrain, we can stall things out for Psychic Terrain. It's Ghost type, so that our STEELIX and our HELIOLISK have something that can swap in and be immune to fighting type hits. Close combat is everywhere this generation, so Sableye is going to be avoiding a bunch of them for us. Sableye also provides us with Knockoff and Poltergeist for scouting. Foul Play is always really great. Yeah, overall, I love this mon. It's super annoying. You can taunt, you can encore. Yeah, it's not great on the surface, but I think it fits well in this team. It's also Dark type, as we're building out our Psychic Dark core, because, listen, Indeedee's going to be playing a major role on our team. We know that. So having something to support it with immunity to normal type on top of that is great. Which brings us to the last piece of our fighting Psychic core, and that's KELDEO. I haven't given KELDEO a nickname because I'm not sure if I can actually gen them with nicknames. I think that might be illegal. But we'll nickname it if we can. I don't know what, but we will. So I waited a while to pick my tier 1 mon, but KELDEO was always a early decision for me. Or it was an early possibility for me is probably a better way to put it. I picked Cinderace, and I thought Cinderace would probably work really well with KELDEO because they can break each other's problematic pieces, you know? And KELDEO's great. I've been watching a lot of Dr. SLOWKING since we've battled him, and I've been watching his content, and he makes great content. And he made a really good case for drafting KELDEO. So I'm going to do it. And if it was a mistake, it's all on him. But what I've noticed is KELDEO isn't really a popular mon for people to pick up. So I felt comfortable sort of waiting to pick it up. About like halfway through the draft, though, there was a point where I was like, you know what, KELDEO doesn't really fit. I can go for another fighting type. I was looking into Surf Edged instead of STEELIX, and then using my T1 to pick up Gengar, but then Gengar was picked up, and my options just sort of dwindled, and it was like, okay, you said you were considering KELDEO early on Sparrows, just pick up KELDEO. We'll make it work. And that's one of the reasons why I actually ended up deciding to swap out my Lodic. Because upon further reflection, I wanted something that could pair with KELDEO if it was also water type. So we have a psychic fighting core with two similar water types if that's what we need. So they do different things and they serve parts of different cores, which is really great. So KELDEO, yeah, kind of feels like a weird pick at this point for me in the draft, just because I did want it and then I didn't want it and then I was like, well, I gotta pick it anyways. But it doesn't feel bad at all. I think KELDEO fits, especially since it functions so differently than Slowking. Now we're getting into our last two picks, our tier 5 picks, if you haven't been counting. And first off, we have NINJASK Cicada mode. So technically, we have another defogger here. Does this mon work as a defogger? No, not really. It's so frail, it's super weak to rocks. If I want to run it as a defogger, it's going to need heavy-duty boots. You know, maybe not capitalizing on my use of the mon. Who knows? I might run it as a defogger at some point. The initial plan was once I made a few picks, and I was sort of plotting out the rest of my draft, NINJASK just sort of looked nice. And I was under the impression that Speed Boost Baton Pass was still a thing that was allowed in this league. It was allowed last season. And before I got to pick NINJASK, someone else asked about baton passing stats. And the answer was, no, that's been ruined. We can't do that, which is totally fine. But I was like, damn, I was already sort of positioning my draft into NINJASK for that Speed Boost Baton Pass. And now I'm not going to have the opportunity to use that. So that was another sort of moment where I was like, there's nothing better for me on my team than NINJASK, to be honest. Like, I can pick another bug type or another bug flying type in like maybe Butterfree, but NINJASK is just better. I was thinking Pinsir for a while, and I might make a transition to pick Pinsir later on in the season. But right now, to me, the flying typing is probably more useful. And what's great about NINJASK, not to just crap on NINJASK, I don't need to run Speed Boost, first of all. You don't need it. You can just run Infiltrator. And on top of that, its base attack is 90. Not bad. Not bad at all. You can run Swords Dance on it. It can hit hard. It just got access to Dual Wing Beat. It doesn't need Acrobatics. You can go Banded Dual Wing Beat if you want. That way you can also go Banded Leech Life. This thing is not the worst Pokemon. It's just not the best. But that's exactly what you want out of a tier 5 anyways. And speaking of what you want from your tier 5s, let's talk about my wildcard pick, the last member of our team, and probably my second, after Indeedee, my second favorite pick. And that's Fun Size the SWIRLIX. Why did I pick this? It wasn't even listed as a tier 5. I had to dig it up. It was ranked below tier 5. Why did I pick SWIRLIX? Well, the main reason is I needed a good fairy type. I needed something for my fairy steel dragon core, my fantasy core, and there wasn't really anything good left. I think Clefable or Clefairy was already taken. So it was just sort of like, all right, here's my pick of weak fairy types. What do we got? SWIRLIX? Sure, let's do it. Let's see what SWIRLIX can do. SWIRLIX has okay stats. It's not going to be doing damage, really. It can do some damage, I guess. But it's also got aromatherapy. I can run Belly Drum if I want to run Belly Drum. It's not going to be as potent as Slurpuff, obviously, but I can do it. Yeah, this thing, I don't dislike it. It's got Yawn. It can rain dance if I want to rain dance. I do not want to rain dance in Sunny Day. That's the stuff. That's what I need. It has Gastro Acid, which I don't know if that'll ever be useful. I think obviously the most threatening thing this thing can do is drop Sticky Webs. No use beating around the bush. I got this for a sticky web support if I need sticky web support. And I don't even need to bring this thing at all. But just having my opponent know that I could bring sticky web is going to mess with their planning. And that's, I think, one of my biggest takeaways from last season, having Gothitelle on my team. Gothitelle I brought twice. Maybe I brought it 3 times. I think I brought it twice. No, I brought it 3 times. It's a great mon, but it's best used not on your actual team. All it does is force people to run Shed Shell, or they have to run U-Turn, or they have to run Volt Switch. It locks down their options, and it really makes them use subpar sets. And I know people like Automatic say that, like, with your tier 5 pick, you got to choose something that affects prep. And I really love that philosophy, and I feel like SWIRLIX is the mon that does that. SWIRLIX itself isn't threatening, but sticky webs on a team where sticky webs could mean that I'm running a choice specs expanded force in DD and not have to worry about being outsped is frankly game changing. Now with that said, I'm gonna try to bring this thing. I'm gonna. Having SWIRLIX in a thumbnail, oh, chef's kiss. It sounds amazing. I want a thumbnail with SWIRLIX. We all want a thumbnail with SWIRLIX. It's gonna happen. We're gonna get the SWIRLIX thumbnail. People are gonna be retiring their snoms after we're done with SWIRLIX. We're gonna be getting KOs. We'll do belly drum sets. Who cares? We'll belly drum all the way through this league. Bring out your Gigantamax Pokemon. We will belly drum on them. And then we will retaliate with what's the strongest attack it's got? Play rough. We will retaliate with a play rough. Or maybe a facade if we are burned. So there you have it. That is the New England Eeveelutions for the IBL. I'm excited. Overall, there's a lot of pieces to this team that make me go, man, I thought you were going to do something different, and I got to work with it. That's fine. I can work with it. But overall, I think it's a solid team. I'm just not giving it the benefit of the doubt right now, but it will prove itself to me. And last season, I wasn't really feeling my team then either. It proved itself. I actually think that, like, if I don't like the team that I have going into a draft league, I'm more likely to perform better with it. I loved my team in the MPL, but my MPL team was trash. Everyone was like, this is a trash team. And I was like, I love this team. And they were right. This team I don't like. I'm disappointed by it. And I think that's a sign that it's going to do well. That's the silver lining that I'm holding on to right now. Anyways, we will be posting matches on this channel, so keep your eyes out. We'll be using the community tab to post the matches on the main channel, just so that I don't split my audience retention time, because, you know, normies don't like to watch league battles. And that's totally cool, guys. It is. This is very niche content, and everyone's doing it. It's everywhere now, you know? So I get it. And I hope you guys don't mind that we're posting it on this channel instead of the main channel. I just got to start working on building up that actual audience there, and I don't think draft leagues have a place in that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this team in the comments below. Do you think we are going to go to finals with it? Who do you think I will inevitably trade out of my team? Will I trade anyone out of my team? Is SWIRLIX the MVP already? Time will tell, but you can bet on it in the comments. All right, guys, my name is Sparrows, and as always, take care.